The galaxy was quiet. Too quiet, some said. Millions of stars shone, and countless planets circled them, yet most of them were controlled by the same ruling power, the Zorvax Council. For centuries, the Zorvax ruled with strict laws, and no one dared to challenge them. They claimed to bring order, but everyone knew it was control. Alien civilizations lived in fear, obeying without question. Resistance existed, but it was small, weak, and quickly crushed. On a distant space station orbiting a barren gray planet, humans were thought to be insignificant. Most aliens laughed at the stories of humans as weak, primitive, and unprepared for the galaxy. Even the Zorvax considered them irrelevant. If a human dared speak in the council halls, their words were ignored. To the galaxy, humans were a footnote. Commander Elias Caron did not care what aliens thought. He was one of the humans who quietly traveled the galaxy, learning, observing, and planning. His ship, the Starwolf, was hidden deep inside the station's docking bays, disguised to look like a minor supply ship. Humans were careful. They had learned long ago that open power in this galaxy would be met with fear and attack. But today, Elias was not on a mission of diplomacy. He was curious. And curiosity was a dangerous thing in the Zorvax galaxy. He walked through the quiet halls of the station, past the hum of alien machines and the whispers of Zorvax guards. The station was enormous, like a city in space, and filled with strange technology. Aliens of many shapes and sizes moved about. Tall ones with smooth blue skin, small ones with many eyes. Creatures that glided instead of walked. They were all under the watchful eyes of the Zorvax. In the middle of the station there was a hall that few ever entered. It was called the Control Chamber, a place so important that even Zorvax generals rarely went there without orders. At the center of the room was a console, old yet advanced, glowing with soft green lights. A single button sat on the panel, bigger than the others. Above it, in bold letters, a warning read, "Forbidden, do not touch." Elias stopped. He had heard stories of this place. Rumors spoke of a forbidden button that could change the galaxy forever. Some said it could destroy worlds. Others whispered it could summon a force no one could defeat. A small alien scholar, trembling, approached the console. Do not press it," it said in a voice like broken glass. "It is forbidden. Those who touch it, they disappear. Or worse, they bring doom." Elias studied the button. His hand hovered above it. He knew the risks. He also knew the truth the galaxy did not suspect. Humans were not weak. Humans had survived harsh worlds, harsh skies, and impossible odds. Humans could think, adapt, and act faster than most species. And Elias had a plan. He looked at the surrounding Zorvax guards, confident they could not understand him. Their technology was advanced, but their minds were rigid. They were strong, yes, but humans had courage, and courage could change everything. The alien scholar continued to tremble. "If anyone presses it, the humans, they will not be what you expect. It stopped, shaking. "They are more than you think. The galaxy has forgotten them." Elias smiled faintly. The scholar did not know. No one did. Humans had been preparing quietly, building, learning, and observing for decades. The galaxy mocked them, yet humans had never stopped. The commander pressed the button. Immediately, lights flashed across the station. Alarms blared in sharp tones. Aliens shouted, some running, some frozen in fear. The console emitted a low hum, sending vibrations through the chamber. Elias did not flinch. He had expected this chaos, but he also expected something else. Far across the galaxy, sensors blinked. Hidden systems detected a signal, a pulse moving faster than anything known. It was not a threat that could be understood with numbers or weapons. It was something new, something alive. Elias stepped back from the console, watching. He could feel the shift. Something was awakening. And this time, the galaxy would see humans, not as weak observers, not as a footnote, but as something entirely new. Across the Zorvax Council chambers, alarms echoed. Holographic displays flickered with reports from distant worlds. Signal detected from unknown coordinates, one Zorvax general barked. It is not from any registered system. It is unusual. Another general, older and scarred, narrowed their eyes. Unusual, the humans? Yes, it appears it is coming from the system the galaxy has forgotten. The system the humans call Sol Prime. A murmur ran through the council. The humans? Sol Prime? That was the old, hidden planet where humans had once been thought extinct. Everyone assumed the humans were scattered, weak, and irrelevant. To see a signal from their home system was impossible. And to see the signal moving this fast, it was terrifying. Elias knew the galaxy would panic. He also knew this was only the beginning. Back on the station, the alarms continued. Zorvax guards rushed to the console, trying to shut it down. Machines beeped and flashed. But it was too late. Elias had already seen the results. Small human ships began emerging from hidden systems. They were unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Sleek, powerful, and advanced. Humans had been building them in secret, testing them on uninhabited planets, far from alien eyes. These ships were designed not just for speed or firepower, but for adaptability. Humans could change tactics in seconds, and their ships could do things alien fleets could not predict. On the station, the Zorvax leaders were furious. They should be weak. They should be nothing. How? One screamed, looking at the display. His many eyes widened in disbelief. How did they? Elias ignored them. He walked past the guards, past the alarms, and toward the docking bay. He knew the human fleet would begin moving soon. This was not a battle yet. It was a signal, a statement. Humans were making themselves known. Outside the station, in the void of space, small lights blinked. One by one, human ships emerged from hidden hyperspace lanes. They glided forward silently, but with purpose. The aliens did not know it yet, but these were only the first wave. Humans had been preparing for decades, and the galaxy had never imagined what they could do. Inside the station, a young alien clerk whispered to a nearby soldier, trembling. The humans, are coming? But that system is empty. The soldier shook. Empty? Not anymore. Elias watched the blinking lights on the station monitors. He felt a strange mixture of pride and tension. He had pressed the button, and now the galaxy would see humans for the first time in a long while. But he also knew danger was coming. The Zorvax would not ignore this. They would respond. And when they did, humans had to be ready. The console still glowed softly. The forbidden label seemed almost ironic now. Humans were not forbidden. Humans were rising. Elias took a deep breath. The galaxy had laughed at humans for too long. Now it would watch, and it would learn. At that moment, the first human message echoed across the alien networks. We are here, and we are not what you expected. Across thousands of systems, aliens paused. Ships slowed. Councils stopped their debates. The quiet galaxy had changed in an instant, and somewhere in the council chambers, a Zorvax general whispered, pale with fear, Nobody imagined they would show. Elias knew this was only the beginning. The button had been hit. The galaxy would never forget this day. The first human fleet was moving. And soon, the galaxy would learn that humans did not just survive, they thrived. They adapted. They fought not just for themselves, but for justice, freedom, and hope. The quiet galaxy had ended. Elias looked toward the stars, toward the unknown worlds ahead. He smiled faintly. The humans were coming. And they were ready. The galaxy had never been so quiet, or so tense. In the council chambers of the Zorvax, alarms blared endlessly. Holographic screens flickered with the same terrifying report. An unknown human fleet was moving through hyperspace toward the core systems. Zorvax leaders could not believe what they saw. Their fleets were massive, numbering in the hundreds, yet these humans, thought weak, primitive, and irrelevant, were not hiding or fleeing. They were advancing, calculated and precise. Every movement showed intelligence, strategy, and confidence that the Zorvax had never expected from any species. "Impossible," muttered General Tharv, a massive Zorvax warrior with gray scales and 6 arms. "Humans should not even be able to leave their system without our detection. How? How did they—" "They were hiding," another voice said quietly from the back of the chamber. "They always were. We thought the humans were weak. They were preparing." For decades, the galaxy had laughed at humans. Stories called them fragile, slow, and incapable of handling real threats. The Council had underestimated them, foolishly. Now, the humans were moving not just for survival but with intent. On the outer rim, in the Sol Prime system, the human fleet gathered silently. Thousands of ships glimmered against the blackness of space. Sleek fighters, heavy cruisers, and enormous capital ships aligned in formations that were both elegant and deadly. Each ship carried humans trained for every scenario, every battle, every challenge. Commander Elias Corrin stood on the bridge of the Starwolf, overlooking the fleet. His eyes were sharp, scanning every display. "This is it," he said softly. "The galaxy will see humans today, and they will learn that underestimating us is a mistake." His officers nodded. They had trained for this moment for years. Each ship, each weapon, each strategy had been tested in secret simulations. The galaxy thought humans were weak. Humans were about to prove otherwise. The first human message was sent. It echoed across every Zorvax sensor in real time. "We are not what you expected. We are here to protect life. Do not test us unless you wish to learn the cost." The message caused panic. Zorvax commanders barked orders, but confusion spread quickly. No species had ever broadcast such a message in the middle of a fleet movement. It was bold. It was human. In the flagship of the Zorvax fleet, Admiral Rilth stared at the communications console, his many eyes wide. "They have courage," he said, voice trembling. "And power. How is this possible?" The human fleet moved forward with calculated precision. Smaller ships took the lead, scouting alien patrols, avoiding detection until the last moment. Medium ships carried advanced weaponry, capable of disabling alien defenses without massive destruction. The largest human warships, designed to strike key positions, stayed hidden in hyperspace pockets, waiting for the perfect moment. Humans did not rush blindly. They did not charge recklessly. Every move was calculated, every risk accounted for. On a distant planet, the first Zorvax observation outpost detected the human fleet. Scientists and soldiers scrambled to respond. "They're massive," one shouted. "How did they build this in secret?" "No one knows," a senior officer said, voice pale. "We thought the humans were weak. We were wrong. We were fools." And they were not the only ones. Across multiple systems, alien colonies watched the humans with fear, curiosity, and awe. For the first time, some wondered if the Zorvax might be wrong about humans. Elias smiled faintly as reports came in. Smaller alien patrols, sent to intercept the humans, were neutralized with skill rather than brute force. Humans did not destroy everything. They disabled engines, jammed communications, and captured ships where possible. Alien crews were stunned. They could not predict human tactics. Humans thought like no one else in the galaxy. "Prepare the Iron Wolf," Elias said. "It is time they see what a human capital ship can do." The Iron Wolf, the largest human warship in the fleet, emerged from a hidden hyperspace lane. Its hull was sleek, reflective, and bristling with weapons. Its shields shimmered with energy patterns no alien could decipher. It moved confidently toward the Zorvax forward fleet, which had been massing near the outer rim to intercept. The Zorvax commanders laughed at first. "One ship," they said. "Against hundreds. It will be destroyed." But the humans did not fight like the Zorvax expected. As the Iron Wolf approached, smaller human ships flanked the Zorvax fleet, jamming sensors and disabling communication arrays. Alien officers struggled to coordinate, panic spreading among their crews. Elias watched from the bridge as the Zorvax flagship attempted to fire. Its weapons glowed, aiming to destroy the human fleet. But the Iron Wolf and its supporting ships were already moving. They struck at key points with precision, taking out engines and weapon systems without causing massive casualties. Humans fought to survive, but they also fought with honor. "Humans are different," muttered one Zorvax officer. "They don't just fight to kill. They fight to win, wisely." Across the galaxy, word spread quickly. Other species, once oppressed by the Zorvax, watched the events with hope. Humans were not just strong. They were clever, disciplined, and morally driven. Some smaller species began sending secret messages to Elias, asking for protection and guidance. Humans were becoming a symbol, not just a threat. The battle continued. Aliens tried to regroup, but human strategies were unpredictable. They adapted to every attack, countered every ambush, and moved faster than any alien commander thought possible. Elias communicated with his fleet through calm, concise orders. Block their escape routes. Disable their engines, not their lives. Show them humans fight with skill, not just power. Human fighters darted between larger ships, moving like schools of fish. They disabled weapons, cut through defenses, and captured alien vessels. The Zorvax fleet, powerful as it was, could not keep up. For the first time, the galaxy began to see humans not as weak observers, but as a force to be respected. Meanwhile, in the council chambers, Zorvax leaders panicked. "We underestimated them," one cried. "They are nothing like we imagined. We cannot fight them with our usual strategies." "Send reinforcements," another shouted. "Destroy them before they reach the inner systems." But it was too late. Humans had already anticipated reinforcements. Hidden fleets emerged from secret hyperspace lanes, surrounding the incoming Zorvax ships. Humans were not just reacting, they were predicting. They had prepared for decades, quietly, unseen. On the bridge of the Iron Wolf, Elias spoke to his crew. They expected fear. They expected hesitation. We gave them neither. Remember, humans survive not because we are the strongest, but because we think differently, act boldly, and never give up. Keep moving. The galaxy is watching. Every ship in the fleet responded with precision. They moved like a single organism, coordinated yet flexible. Zorvax ships fired, but their attacks were anticipated. Shields absorbed strikes. Engines dodged blasts. Humans were not just surviving. They were demonstrating mastery. As the battle reached the outer systems, alien colonies watched in awe. Planets that had lived under fear and oppression began to see hope. Humans were not only capable of fighting, they were capable of protecting the innocent. Messages from terrified species reached Elias, asking for help. He sent response teams immediately, rescuing civilians, disabling dangerous weapons, and offering guidance. The galaxy slowly realized something incredible. Humans were not only powerful, they were ethical. They fought to win, yes, but they also fought to protect. This combination of strength and morality was something the Zorvax had never faced. By the end of the first day of human action, the results were clear. Zorvax forward fleets were scattered. Many ships had been captured or disabled. Humans had suffered minimal losses. And most importantly, the message had spread across the galaxy. Humans were here. Humans were clever. Humans were not to be underestimated. Elias watched the screens, knowing the first shockwave had succeeded. But he also knew the war was far from over. The Zorvax would respond. They would send larger fleets, stronger weapons, and even more cunning tactics. Humans had shown their strength, but the galaxy had yet to see the full extent of their power. As night fell on the bridge of the Iron Wolf, Elias allowed himself a small smile. "They thought humans were weak," he said softly. "They were wrong, and they will learn just how wrong they were." The stars outside shimmered silently, hiding the hidden human fleets preparing for the next move. The galaxy had been awakened, and from this day forward, humans would no longer be ignored. The galaxy had changed. Systems that once whispered fearfully about the Zorvax now buzzed with hope. Rumors of human fleets, clever and unstoppable, traveled faster than any Zorvax propaganda. Every planet, every station, every colony seemed to wait, holding its breath for the next human move. Commander Elias Corrin stood on the bridge of the Iron Wolf, overlooking the human fleet in orbit around the outer rim of a contested system. Stars stretched endlessly before them, but Elias's eyes were sharp, focused on the glowing displays. Every movement of alien fleets was tracked, every potential threat calculated. Humans were no longer invisible observers. They had become a symbol, a force that the galaxy could not ignore. This system, Elias said, pointing to the holographic display, has been oppressed for decades. Its people have lived under the Zorvak's rule, afraid to speak. Today, we show them humans are here, and that hope is real. The crew nodded. They had trained for this moment. They had spent years studying alien tactics, predicting outcomes, preparing for every eventuality. The humans were not rushing blindly into battle. They moved with intelligence, precision, and care. Meanwhile, in the Zorvak's command center, panic and disbelief spread like fire. General Tharv slammed his 6 arms on the table. They are everywhere. They move faster than our sensors can track. How is this possible? They have been preparing, one officer said cautiously. We never noticed because we ignored them. They were weak in our eyes, unimportant. But they are different, smarter, faster, and they fight like no one else. The Zorvak's fleet began to organize a counterattack. Massive ships emerged from hidden lanes, armed with weapons designed to crush entire systems. But the humans were ready. They had anticipated such retaliation, positioning their fleet to respond before the Zorvaks could even aim properly. On a planet under Zorvak's control, Elias activated a holographic communicator. The oppressed citizens watched as a human fleet shimmered in orbit. "Do not be afraid," Elias said, voice calm but strong. "We are humans, and we are here to help. You are free now. Stand tall. Fear ends today." People stared, disbelief and hope battling in their eyes. Years of oppression had taught them that no one would save them. And now, humans were not just showing up. They were winning. Below, Zorvak soldiers prepared to fire on the planet, but human ships moved first. Small strike teams landed quietly, disabling key weapon systems without harming civilians. Engineers in human uniforms, agile and careful, neutralized mines and power cores. Fighters darted between enemy turrets, using precision strikes to render them useless. Alien soldiers could not understand the strategy. Humans were fighting without fear, yet without unnecessary destruction. They adapted in real time, improvising as situations changed. Every move was unpredictable, yet perfectly coordinated. Back in space, the human fleet faced the main Zorvak's counterattack. Hundreds of alien ships approached in tight formation, weapons glowing. The Zorvaks believed their numbers would overwhelm the humans. They did not know the humans had studied them for decades. Elias gave his orders calmly. "Divide and flank, force them to react, not to act. Protect civilians, disable engines, and keep our losses minimal. Remember, humans survive because we adapt. We think, we calculate, and we act together." Human ships split, moving in patterns that alien sensors could not track. They struck at weak points, disabling engines, jamming sensors, and cutting communication lines. Alien fleets tried to regroup, but the humans were always one step ahead. "This is impossible," one Zorvak's commander shouted. "They are small, yet they move like shadows. We cannot predict them." Elias's voice remained steady on the bridge. "Humans survive because we do not follow rules set by fear. Every challenge is an opportunity. Every enemy is a lesson. Keep moving." The first major clash began above the planet's orbit. The Zorvaks fired their largest weapons, massive beams of energy designed to annihilate human ships. But humans had anticipated the attack. Shield formations shifted, energy fields absorbed and redirected blasts, and fighters darted between capital ships, taking out key weapon systems. One alien ship broke formation and fired directly at the Iron Wolf. Elias acted instantly. Evasive maneuvers, divert power to shields, fire back at the engines. The Iron Wolf glided, twisting through space with fluid movements. The alien ship's beam missed, striking an empty asteroid nearby. Human cannons fired precisely, disabling the ship's engines and rendering it useless. The alien crew panicked. They had never seen a ship fight with such speed, precision, and calm. Humans were not just fighting, they were teaching the galaxy a new lesson. Strength was not just in numbers. Strength was in courage, intelligence, and strategy. On the planet below, humans continued their rescue and protection operations. They freed alien civilians from Zorvak's prisons, restored communications to local governments, and repaired damaged infrastructure. Humans were not conquerors, they were liberators. The people of the planet watched in awe as humans coordinated these complex operations. Stories of human courage and ingenuity spread quickly. Children cheered, elders wept with relief, and soldiers began questioning their loyalty to the Zorvaks. One local leader whispered to his aide, "They are not like us. They are better. They fight, yet they care. They protect, yet they conquer. How is this possible?" The aide nodded. "The humans. They are changing everything." Meanwhile, in orbit, the Zorvaks attempted a new strategy. They sent a hidden fleet around the system, hoping to trap the humans between two forces. But humans were prepared. Scouts had detected the maneuver hours before, and the fleet adjusted immediately. Small fighter squadrons intercepted the hidden fleet, using tactics that combined speed, deception, and precision attacks. Alien ships were disabled before they could reach the planet's orbit. Elias watched from the bridge. The galaxy has underestimated humans for too long. Every action we take now is teaching them a lesson they will never forget. We are not just surviving, we are showing that humans lead, adapt, and protect. His crew worked silently, efficiently, and fearlessly. Engineers rerouted energy, navigators calculated trajectories, and fighters executed complex maneuvers. Humans were a single, cohesive force, yet each person was capable of independent thought. This combination of coordination and flexibility was something no alien species could match. By the end of the second day, the humans had achieved what many thought impossible. The planet was free from Zorvak's control, the fleet had minimized civilian casualties, and alien observers were beginning to question their leader's authority. Zorvak's commanders gathered in panic. "We cannot fight them with force alone," one admitted. "They are smarter, faster, and unpredictable. Every strike we plan fails before it begins." General Tharv slammed a clawed hand against the table. "Then we must outthink them. We must find their weaknesses." But Elias had no weaknesses to exploit. Humans were adaptable, courageous, and united. Every challenge they faced was met with creativity and precision. The Zorvaks had assumed humans were weak. They had underestimated human intelligence, preparation, and moral strength. As night fell on the liberated planet, Elias stood on the bridge of the Iron Wolf, looking at the stars. Small human ships returned from operations, reporting success. People cheered, lives were saved, and the galaxy was beginning to see the humans in a new light. Elias allowed himself a small smile. "They thought we were weak," he said softly. "They were wrong, and tomorrow we will show them how wrong they truly are." The galaxy had seen the first human victory, but the story was far from over. The Zorvaks would not stop. They would gather larger fleets, deploy new weapons, and plan greater attacks. Humans had shown strength, but the ultimate test was still ahead. Still, Elias knew this. Humans had already achieved something no one thought possible. They had changed the balance of power. They had inspired hope. And they had done it while keeping their honor, protecting the innocent, and proving that courage and intelligence could overcome fear and oppression. In the silence of space, the human fleet prepared for the next move. Fighters darted like stars, capital ships shimmered with power, and humans stood ready. For the first time in the galaxy's long history, the underdogs had become the heroes. And the galaxy would never forget the name of humans. The galaxy had changed forever. Word of human fleets, clever and unstoppable, spread from system to system. Alien colonies that had suffered under Zorvak's rule for centuries whispered hope, not fear. Even the bravest Zorvak's commanders began to doubt themselves. The humans, once underestimated, were now the galaxy's unexpected champions. Commander Elias Corrin stood on the bridge of the Iron Wolf, watching the stars. The human fleet was in motion, not just to fight, but to secure peace. Today, he said quietly to his crew, we end the first chapter of this conflict. Not with destruction, but with control and protection. The galaxy will remember humans for what we truly are. The fleet moved like a single organism, coordinated yet flexible. Every ship had a purpose. Fighters darted through space, disabling alien weapons and engines with precision. Cruisers and frigates formed protective screens, shielding smaller ships and evacuating civilians from contested planets. And the Iron Wolf, the flagship, led the strike with quiet authority. The Zorvax, desperate and furious, had deployed their largest fleet yet. Hundreds of massive warships, bristling with weapons, emerged from hidden lanes. Their goal was simple: capture Elias, destroy the human fleet, and crush the uprising before it spread further. But humans were ready. Scouts had detected the Zorvax movements hours earlier. The human fleet adjusted positions, creating traps, false targets, and ambush points. Alien ships fired massive energy beams, expecting humans to scatter in fear. Humans did not scatter, they adapted. Divert power to shields, prepare countermeasures, target their engines first, Elias ordered. The Iron Wolf twisted through space with fluid grace. Alien beams of energy struck harmlessly against its adaptive shields. Fighters darted around capital ships using speed, agility, and intelligence to disable weapons and capture ships without unnecessary loss of life. Humans were not reckless. They were precise. They were unstoppable. On a nearby planet, citizens watched in awe. Children pointed to the sky as human ships moved like glowing arrows of hope. Elders wept quietly, knowing freedom had arrived. Soldiers who had served the Zorvax hesitated, watching the humans' actions. For the first time, they questioned their loyalty. Humans fought to win, but more importantly, they fought to protect life. Elias transmitted a message to the Zorvax fleet. His voice was calm but firm. We are humans. We do not fight for fear or revenge. We fight to protect life and freedom. Stand down, and you may survive this day. Resist, and you will learn the cost of underestimating humans. The message spread quickly through the alien networks. Some Zorvax commanders hesitated, unsure if they should obey. Their fleets were massive, but they had never faced an enemy like this. Humans were clever, adaptable, and fearless. The battle began in earnest. Zorvax ships moved in formation, hoping to crush the human fleet with sheer firepower. But humans had planned for this. Smaller ships acted as decoys, drawing fire while the main fleet struck at critical points. Energy beams were absorbed, deflected, or dodged. Alien formations collapsed under the human assault. Focus on their command ships, Elias ordered. Disable them first. Without leadership, their fleet will fall apart. Fighters raced through the chaos, targeting communications arrays and weapon systems. Human engineers deployed EMP bursts, temporarily disabling enemy ships. Alien crews panicked, unable to understand the human strategy. They had expected raw power, but humans fought with intelligence, coordination, and honor. A Zorvax commander screamed, frustrated. We have numbers. We have strength. Why can we not defeat them? A subordinate whispered, pale and trembling. Because they are humans, and humans fight differently. We cannot predict them. Meanwhile, on liberated planets, humans worked to secure infrastructure and protect civilians. Engineers repaired cities, medics treated the wounded, and communication officers restored links between colonies. Humans were not conquerors. They were protectors. Every move they made inspired hope, loyalty, and admiration. Alien species began sending messages to Elias, offering allegiance, resources, and intelligence. They had never seen humans before, yet they trusted them. Humans were not only winning battles, they were winning hearts. In space, the tide of battle began to turn. Zorvax fleets, massive as they were, could not match human adaptability. Every ambush failed. Every tactic was countered. Ships were disabled or captured, and the remaining forces began to retreat. Elias gave the final order. Focus fire on their flagship. Once it falls, the rest will scatter. But remember, spare those who surrender. Humans do not destroy without reason. The human fleet moved as one. Fighters flanked the Zorvax flagship, while cruisers fired precision energy bursts at engines and weapon systems. The alien flagship struggled, but every maneuver was met with a faster, smarter response. Finally, the flagship was immobilized. Its weapons were offline, engines disabled. Alien crews surrendered, stunned by the humans' strategy, courage, and mercy. The battle, once expected to be long and brutal, was over in hours. Back on the Iron Wolf, Elias addressed the fleet. You have done what the galaxy thought impossible. You have shown courage, skill, and honor. But this is only the beginning. The galaxy will remember humans today. And tomorrow, we will continue to protect life and freedom wherever it is threatened. The fleet cheered. Humans had faced impossible odds and triumphed, not with sheer numbers but with intelligence, preparation, and heart. They had not only won the battle, they had changed the perception of humans across the galaxy. In the council chambers of the Zorvax, panic and disbelief were widespread. Leaders argued, blamed each other, and questioned everything they thought they knew. We underestimated them, General Tharv admitted, his voice trembling. We treated them as weak, primitive, but they are smarter, faster, braver than we imagined. They fight like no one else. They inspire loyalty, even among our enemies. A younger Zorvax officer added quietly, perhaps we were wrong about humans. Perhaps they are not a threat to fear, but a force to respect. The idea was revolutionary. For centuries, the Zorvax had ruled with control and fear. They had never imagined an alien species could combine strength, intelligence, and morality in such a way. Humans had changed the rules of the galaxy. Across liberated systems, alien colonies began to rebuild. Citizens cheered, soldiers surrendered, and leaders stepped forward to govern without fear. The humans' actions had created a ripple effect. For the first time, oppression was challenged and hope was restored. Elias received messages from dozens of planets. Thank you, they said. We never believed freedom was possible. But humans have shown us it is real. Elias smiled faintly. Humans fight not for glory but for life. We protect because we must, and we will continue to do so, wherever life is threatened. Even as the galaxy celebrated, Elias knew the story was far from over. The Zorvax would regroup. They would strike again. But humans had shown the universe their strength, courage, and intelligence. They had proven that being underestimated was their greatest advantage. Humans had transformed the galaxy, not through fear, but through action, honor, and courage. They had demonstrated that even a small species could change the course of history if it fought with heart, mind, and determination. The Iron Wolf moved through space, its crew ready for the next challenge. Planets waited for human protection, fleets followed their lead, and the galaxy had begun to see humans as legends in the making. Elias looked at the stars, knowing that humanity's story was only beginning. We did not come for war, he said quietly. We came to protect, and the galaxy will remember that. Humans are not weak. Humans are never weak. The stars outside shimmered silently, hiding human fleets preparing for the future. The galaxy had been awakened, and humans would ensure that freedom, justice, and courage would flourish wherever darkness tried to take hold. The quiet galaxy was gone. In its place, a new era had begun, an era where humans were no longer underestimated, an era where courage, intelligence, and morality could change everything. And the galaxy, for the first time in its long history, looked at humans and knew that they were a force unlike any other.